Hello, YouTube. Thanks for being here. This is the FFF for Friday, April 10th, 2020, and this week in Reddit video. If you like this sort of thing, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and ring that bell so that you get a notification every time I post a video. If you want to join me for this live, we do this every Friday as soon as just about as soon as the FFF drops. You can join me at twitch.tv/ClownTown Live. We can comment on it together, or if you have a comment here, you can leave it in the comment section below. All my other support links are in the description. With that, let's get to the FFF. All right. Friday Facts number 342, Factorio, the new old tutorial from April 10th. Just a little preamble. This tutorial has been beat up so many times. I know I've been super critical of it as before. My advice to new players up until now was to bypass the tutorial and go into free play and explore your own. Watch streamers, watch YouTube videos, figure out how to do it, come by and ask questions, get into the Reddit, but do anything but other than do the tutorial / campaign, because it's not a reflection of the gameplay necessarily. But here we go. I say that with all the love in my heart for this game. I've got, I'm approaching 4,000 hours in it, and it's probably still my favorite. But damn. And I just to let these guys off the hook, I know they've struggled with this tutorial as much as we have, so we're with you. We're with you. As stated in the previous FFFs, we will be making some changes to the demo and tutorial content of the game. I want to clarify what is being removed and what is being replaced with, as the content is almost ready for release. Good. If you'd like to catch up on the topic, you can read Kovrex's piece in 327, right? This was where they announced the demise of, hey, whatever we did, we're cutting it. We're doing something different. And there's a bunch of reasons there. Right now, the new player experience, NPE, new player experience, introduction scenario that's used as the demo as 1.7 and tutorial the full game. If anyone has played the tutorial in the last 12 months, this is probably what you've played, yes. The first steps of the campaign was a series of 3 levels which used to make up the demo and tutorial in 1.6 and earlier. Right. First couple of steps. Those were what was introduced in 2014, and we've been working on revamping those levels to bring it to 18 standards. Right. Very soon the NPE introduction will be removed and the first steps campaign will be reinstated. As the full game and as both the full game tutorial and the demo. What has changed? Now this is the specifics. The plan is to change these levels as little as possible while updating them to modern Factorio standards. It's harder than it sounds given the levels were created in 2014. I understand. As stated in 241, there are many things that were felt inconsistent about the First Steps campaign. One of the largest ones, there was many different and confused channels of information. The newer version has given each channel a purpose and a format. The most distracting and the most popular was the character monologues. Some of the messages in each channel were written in the first person as if the character is talking to themselves. All the instances of this occurring in the yellow speech bubbles objective panel are gone and moved to the console. The rule here is that nothing is actually necessary should come from nothing that is actually necessary. No information, I should say, should come via this channel. To communicate to the player that this is story text, I added a speaker prefix. Oh, okay. Okay, that's helpful. The most necessary and most annoying channel was the yellow speech bubbles. There are situations where it is absolutely necessary to pause the game and tell the player something. Since we have no other technology designed for this purpose, I resorted to removing as many of them as possible, and they only appear when necessary. Good. So they pop up right next to the player, and you got to click them to acknowledge them. They only, okay. They only appear when necessary, although I would still like to get rid of more of them. The final channel is the objective window, right? Channel of information, I guess. The rule here is the player tabbed through all the speech bubbles without looking and did not read the story text. They would still be able to finish the level. Good. I'm not much for story. In fact, that's my default, is to go through, is when I first start into a new game, I will, yeah, let's go, action. Yeah, whatever. The text should not be in the first person, and we can speak directly to the player. Okay? Due to much more rigorous and dedicated internal testing, thanks Bosket, we caught a lot of corner cases where the players can become stuck. Good. The tutorials now take into account new and updated game features. For example, previously the pickaxe was used to demonstrate crafting, so some extra attention had to be paid when the player crafts some stone furnace for the first time. Right. The first thing you had to do was craft a pickaxe. Right. The maps have been updated to look much more like what the random generator creates in free play. Good. And the new remnants make a great impression here. Like, oh yeah, look, the new graphics of, hey man, some stuff was broke, and your job is to do it. You know, get after it and fix it. Now the quick bar does not automatically populate. We had to be more careful about when the player has their inventory open. Yes. The new standard for new players is open inventory, take item, close inventory, place item, open inventory, place remaining items, close inventory. Yep. Given new players the option to add quick bar links early as possible is a challenge, because every time you add a new concept, the player must expand their attention, keeping it in mind. Correct. Not only that, but using the quick bar actually removes a perfect opportunity for the new player to practice interacting with the inventory. Why are we changing it? Well, most of those are, in FFF 327. But a lot of people ask for more information to help them understand. Post-mortems are uncomfortable, but necessary. So I'll try to summarize his point and one of my own. Yeah, post-mortems are uncomfortable, but they are super useful. The NPE was created to widen the audience of Factorio. Yes, it takes new players a long time to get into the game, and many stop playing before getting it. Yes. The strategy was to show new players, both in the demo and tutorial of the mid-game. After finishing the scenario, Kovarex realized the experience was not in line with his vision for the game. True. When he told me how he felt, I think he was surprised that I agreed his decision to remove it. Vision and alignment is very important, especially in a demonstrator product. It isn't something you can just fix when the project is almost finished. That's right. It's not easy. Good. Obrigado. I think that's, is he Portuguese maybe? Sounds Portuguese. This is not to say that MPE failed in its goals. It did appeal to a wider audience, and player feedback at the end of development was overwhelmingly positive. I received a lot of feedback from genuine first-time demo players pledging to buy the game immediately, and also from story-focused, non-sandbox players who were craving more. But as Kovarex said as FFF, the cost of this was too high. In light of the full-length campaign being canceled, V453000, who needs to change his name before go live, his part in FFF 331, the biggest reason why I think the NPE production would have failed as a demo. We would have been offering an experience in the demo which was targeted to a wide audience, but the quest-loving players were not going to get any extra content if they buy the game. Right. A literal, it isn't what it says on the tin solution. Yes. If all you see is Factorio and a step through, and then you unlock it and you get all you get is free play. Miss. I agree. A full post-mortem would be much longer than this, but I would like to discuss much more about the things that it went right. On the upside, a lot was learned from the project, and that can only make the game better in the future. So, what I've said all along, this is one of the greatest things about Factorio. If it can be done, it can be undone. It's one of the greatest things about engineering. One of the greatest things about this game is that there is room for evolution. Your first builds are crappy compared to your 10th builds, and there's room to evolve. Same thing in your builds. Don't be afraid to rip it all up and try again. Have a starting point, get some stuff done, and don't be afraid to rip it all up. You just do it again. No big deal. Nobody's hurt. Yeah, and you have fun in the learning process. And so it's really awesome to see something as big as the first impression you have of the game as a player falls into that category of, we did a thing, it got some stuff done, we learned from it, and now we're going to pull it up and we're going to redo it, right? We're going to, some of it's good, some of it's bad, but we're going to not be afraid to gut it and put in something better. Metaphor for life, man. When is it coming? The new old First Steps tutorial is almost ready. Still doing some general polishing and internal testing. If all goes to plan, it will be released in the next few weeks. However, it doesn't mean the work is necessarily finished, as no doubt we need to tweak, polish, and fix a lot more things. The player feedback is rolling in. Alongside this edition, we'll be also removing the NPE and doing a general cleanup of the now unneeded data changes. This may affect some mods which have dependence on the new campaign assets. Oh, we might leave some assets in if they were significantly enough. For instance, the Compilatron. Oh, yeah, right. So if you're a modder and something in the NPE is special interest you, please let us know. Yeah, if you're a modder and you hang your mod on some of these packs, hit that forum link and go say, hey, I'm a modder. Here's what I'm using. Here are the objects. Please don't. I think there's a modding section. New old tutorial, board index. Mods right here. Contribution mods. And or throw it in there for technical help or development proposals. Say leave it in. Put in one of those. All right. Anyway, so there you go. Good job, Abrigado, and good job, Covrex. I'm stoked about this. This is going to be good. All right, that's the FFF. Let's get into Reddit and answer some questions. Right, this is the weekly question thread in r/Factorio on Reddit for April 10th, 2020. And look at there, I got to add to quit smoking. I don't smoke. All right. High Resolution asks another quick question. Oh, I guess he's got two questions here. Let's do his first one first. Is there an easy place to find a list of all the ratios for production of the game? Factorio cheat sheet, yeah. For example, I see some blueprints with a certain number of assemblers to make motors, let's say, but no idea how they got to that number. The electric furnaces, making iron plates to steel, for example. A lot of tutorials I find are older versions of the game and been updated since then. So I'll actually put these links in the description. Factorio cheat sheet. There's a Kirk McDonald planner. There's Dumir's planner. And let me see if there's one more. There is one called Barry Kuhn Factorio Calc. All three of those are different aspects of how to do planning, but that's where you get all of the ratios. The one I most go to is the one from Kirk McDonald, because I usually have a production goal and I need to know how many assemblers feed up into it. Or I say I'm going to need, it's useful for speed runs because in order to get all of the, say, purple science done by X time, if I need to get all the purple science done in 35 minutes, that means I need a total of 2,000. That means I need X number of science post packs per minute with modules, and then that means I need X number of assemblers for purple, and then that means I need X number of assemblers for furnaces and rail and modules, right, etc. Right, so that's one of those things to work out. Right. High resolution 1337 Solite. Another quick question I can't seem to find an answer for. What is the limit of what a pipe can hold fluid-wise? I don't imagine I can keep cramming crude into one pipe. Yeah. If you're building pumps every 1,200 per second, yeah, fluid dynamics are crazy. It's 1,200 units per second, but fluid dynamics are cracked out. Good questions. You'll see, because it won't make it all the way down to the end. every 16, 17 pipes, you'll need another pump. Right. Demosthenes says, regarding editing train schedules, is there a method to copy the entire condition lines across stations? Or even copy-paste item values? You can copy from train to train, but no, not... Other than naming, copy the entire condition lines across station. No, naming, if you have station name A, you make another station name A. All of those trains will, all the same trains that are on A will be on the new one named A. But if you have station named A and you want it station named B, you can't just say copy all the schedules, etc., because it's the same trains. So no, gotta reconfigure that. Can't think of a name. Well, you just thought of one. Asks, don't know why I can't find this, but how do I get a blueprint into my library into 1.8? There used to be a spot, drag here to export to library. It's on the toolbar now. The B menu opens up blueprints, but creating a new book and creating a new thing is on the it's in the toolbar now. Otherwise, if I make a bunch of blueprints and they're in my inventory, I hit B, that brings them up, and then I drag and drop in. Jareth GK, what would be the best way to ask about a port of Factorio to Google's Stadia platform? I think it'd be a fine game to have on there, as I just recently got into this service. Factorio is on GeForce if you're looking to play on a gaming platform. Yeah, Factorio forums, I would say. That may be your best bet, Jareth. Interesting. I don't know how Stadia is. I haven't tried it. I heard some pretty neato stuff. It's a neat concept of you just pay an X number of flat fee, and then you get to play all the games on the platform. It's interesting. Seven Mars. Kuadon says, are there mods enhance the functionality of production graphs? Generally something that will let you save filter configuration consumption within like 90% of production. That's interesting. I'm with Shanann. I don't think that's something that mods can fiddle with. I've never seen a mod that does that. Cool DD asks, good mods to try having just completed vanilla? Yeah, Bob's and Angels, Factorio Extended. I'm in Crastorio right now. Pyanodons is Angels, Bob's, Pyanodons, all high-level stuff. Rampant AI will give you, we'll use UPS to try and break your face and break your spirit. You can try some of the quality of life mods. Those are good. Getting into LTN if you're a train dude, that's pretty good. HTN, Logistic Trains Network. Yeah, any of these are good. Does anybody else think of Skittles when they open a chest full of rail signals? Nope. Scob17 says, why can't I cancel research in the research queue? Yes, you can. If I select the active one, it just shows the next level button and start research. Red X at the very bottom of the square. It's at the very bottom of the square. If you hover over it, you can cancel it. You can cancel it. T to open the technology window up there with the 7 icons in the research queue. Bottom becomes a red X. Dr. Monix or Dromonix, how do I begin transitioning from the starter base that became permanent to a mega base with lots of trains? I follow KOS and I'm confident building my own starter base now, but what's the strategy for building actual mega base? Should I build a new base somewhere else and use a starter supply of initial materials for it? That's a good question. Yes, that's a perfectly good alternative. I'm also not sure the best way to handle getting materials into it. My starter base always uses whatever ore patches are nearby. I think a mega base would need to have inputs brought in by train. Yes. You're on the right track, Dr. Monix. Usually, the starter base is kind of more spaghetti to get you through the science, and once you have your science, then you can plan out your mega base. Almost always, we start off off-site, and the starter base kind of sits there and just generates through the equipment that we use, or produces the mall of stuff that we use, and then we produce a mega base elsewhere. And it's usually our method is a distributed mega base where we start doing outposts that produce red, green, and blue boards. And even smelting off-site is a very common way to do it. So that at an iron patch, you have the miners and the smelters right next to it, and you feed them directly in, and then you train iron plates back wherever you need them. Do that. Yep, distributed stuff. But there's not really a wrong way to do it, Dr. Monix. Do not be afraid to rip it up and start all over. You may even also, this is a good suggestion, you may even think about starting your mega base away from the start area so that you can be a little bit closer to the new ore patches. But you cannot really change your starting spawn area. You're always going to spawn at 0, on the map. So just be aware that whatever you put there is going to be where you start. I have had mega bases before where we forgot where we started, and we ran a train right across the starting point. So when you pop in, you had about a 1 out of 8 chance of being run over by a train immediately. So be aware of that. I think you can change your spawn point with a console command, but by default there's nowhere. It's not like there's in other games where you build a bed and you click on the bed and you can set your new spawn point. You can move the bed over here and you click at the bed and set your new spawn point. It's not like that. You can do it wherever, but by base game you can't change your spawn point. Good question, Dr. Monix. What is a Baggins 5.5? How the hell do I handle petroleum gas production? I have like 10 tanks full of oil right now with 8 refineries doing the 3-way split, but just doesn't give me enough to keep up with my plastic bar cracking. Do I need to be converting my light oil storage back to petroleum gas? Yes. Yes, cracking. Your overages should always crack downward. Cracking. You got it. And reliably finicky, I just spotted this one. Pro tip, you don't need more than 1 tank of buffer for each type of fluid. Yeah, you get into advanced play, once you figure it out, this is a great goal to shoot for, is shooting for this goal, is how do I get to here? Because you don't need that big of a buffer. Good. Good question. Teal Owls. Teal Owl WS. Very confusing names. Just zoomed in on one of my trains and noticed both of its engines were facing the wrong way. They push instead of pull. You can go up to them and hit R. Nice. Adams DJ says, I have about 6 coal trains. Let's upvote. Running around my base, and that seems a pretty good number to keep my base running right now. However, from time to time, there will be no need for any coal trains. One stop will open up, call for a to load, and all my trains will take off at once. One get there, unload, and the rest will just stop on the track. They do skip unavailable stops. Yep. Just have 1 coal train per 1 stop. This is a weird way to do it. You can just have 1 coal train per stop, and if you have 6 coal trains and you have 6 places that need coal, fine. If one spot ceases to need coal, so for example, I had a coal train that was consistently delivering smelting coal to a smelting base, and now you convert that smelting base to electric furnaces, and that train is no longer needed. Have it deliver its last batch and stop and kill the train. That train has has served its purpose. Make that train into something else like iron plates. Yeah. What do I name myself? Any advice to dealing with the biters early? I just automated green sites and I'm getting swarmed. Secret, just more turrets. Yep. Set up defenses. Control your pollution. Set up walls and defenses. Tech up faster. You have to tech up faster than they evolve. That's it. Go out and kill. Go out and kill nests and push them out of your pollution cloud and give yourself a break. But yeah, that's the game of that's Factorio. Out tech the biters. Looking for some advice on There Is No Spoon. Good. Commander Com. My first attempt ended after 4 hours with me realizing I was trying to scale up way too big. Second attempt, I got 12-hour rocket launch. Good. You're in the top 10%, I think, have launched a rocket. My 2 self-imposed rules are no pre-game blueprints and pollution diffusion remains on. Other settings can be whatever. I completed my run. I was going for a rain of bullets as well. I was spending a lot of time dealing with biters. Pretty sure laser turrets. I was going for laser turrets. Bots should save a solid amount of time. How much should I be scaling base production? I should be scaling it when in scaling. Okay, all right. You can change your starting area to max. That's a good one. Also, you can set your biters to peaceful. If your goal is to only get There Is No Spoon, set your biters to peaceful or push them way out. Yeah, you can crank biters down, expansion down, or turn biter expansion off. So you have to advance into them. Speedrun.com, Commander.com, give you some hints on how to do There Is No Spoon. Since you're asking, Speedrun.com. Got the game last week, launched a rocket in vanilla last night, 50 hours in. That's actually very good, Audacity P. 50 hours in is ahead of the norm. Usually it's around 80 to 120. What is everyone's goal after rocket launch? 1,000 rockets launched. 1 rocket per minute. It's fun to make things that make things. And once you've made all the things, then what? Keep launching rocket. For what purpose? Because it's there. Look at my YouTube videos. I've got one where I launched 3,570 rockets all at once. I wish I could the factory must grow mentality, but I have no motivation. Mods. More rockets, megabase, gigabase, mods. Mods are great. Mods will take your game over and give you new stuff. You'll find even more things to build with things to build the things to build the things. Audacity. Come by, talk to us. Doing a Crash Story playthrough right now. Head of a Horse says, how does Coop play? How do players interact? Is there any teamwork, or do you pretty much do 2 independent playthroughs of one map? No. Multiplayers is a great thing. You can host on your machine. You can host on a server. You can come by my server. Everybody pile into Discord and go work together and set up different things. You can do 2 bases. You can do 1 mega base, however you want it to. Factorio multiplayer is one of the greatest things about Factorio. And is there a possibility to just copy the color of a train without the schedule? No. You empty out the schedule and copy paste the color. You can also copy from it. Okay, if I set up a new train and I have the color on a train station, I can copy the color from the train station to the train. But train to train, no, it comes with the schedule. Station to train comes with the color. Good question. These are good questions today. Sunbro3, how do I tab my desktop on Windows from Factorio? You just hit the Windows key and then I can walk over. Factorio is the least buggy game for me when I need to do something off game. Almost everything else that I consistently play, either it minimizes or it pauses or do something weird. Factorio is the least of those. Alt tab, the least crashy and buggy when I alt tab out of it. J Rick 23, what in the world happened to being able to see at night through the map? Zoiva says, so trying to get into Factorio after having it sit in my library, and I was kind of wondering, for early game and maybe late game, is it better to have various machines and furnaces right next to ore deposits? Yes. Deposit to smelting to machines. And then bus. It's a good way to start out. Netcraft says, just getting back into Factorio. Well done. After following it for a year or so, is there a way to have a single train track in line with 2 stops and have both be able to be unloaded at the same time? No. Go out to my YouTube and look at my train tutorials. You kind of need to have one this way and one this way. A single train track is hard to do. Make a just like your Factorio, just like the Factorio philosophy is usually bus. I'm going to have a bus and then I distribute off of the bus to my assemblers. Have a train bus and I'm going to distribute off of it to my train stops. Teal Owls. Train woes. Trying to change my one-line train track into a 2 adjacent track highway. Good. This is what I want. That's what we want to do. Oops. With Teal Wall says, trying to change my one-line track into a 2 adjacent track highway. That's a good way to put it. Not train bus. A 2 adjacent track highway with splits off to each of the stops. Trying to seal them up properly. I thought this would work, but I don't understand why this change signal is red. Next 2 stops are green. Change signal going in, red signal coming out. It's probably a signal that is not cleared. Check out a link to my YouTube channel and the tutorials. Tutorials I've got being posted. On the topic of balancers, is there a difference between these 3? Because I can't think of a functional difference between them. Top one. Top one's way better. I don't know the math behind it, but I would imagine they're all missing one other splitter, a splitter in between here and a splitter in between here. So this, I think the math is something like this gets you somewhere around 80% distributed. Adding one splitter here gets you like to 88, and adding a second splitter here gets you like to 92%, something like that. I forget the math, but there is one extra splitter in here in between these 2, ratchets it up to nearly perfect distribution. For the cost of 2 splitters, you can get nearly perfect distribution. Oh, look, edit. I'm an idiot for gutting a splitter, and I figured out something. This is why you should play Factorio at 2 a.m. That's the best time to play Factorio. Is using blueprints made by other people cheating? Great question, Kitty Shipper Cave Girl. Great question. The answer is only if you think it is. There are whole websites out there like Factorio Prints that are shared blueprints, and some of the best ideas I've had are from blueprints that I've gotten. I've looked at someone else's blueprint and I've taken one thing from it and I went, oh, okay, here, I know that's a good idea, and then I extrapolated. I don't use their blueprint, but I get the aha moment of something I needed to do. Also, fair warning, there's a lot of garbage out there. There's a lot of bullcrap, horrible stuff I mean, 80% of what you'll find out on either in Reddit blueprints or on Factorio prints or some of the other sites is garbage and dog crap. Buyer beware. But no, more to the question is no. Go out there and use it for what it is, and it's a good learning tool. Skin Tile says, haven't played Factorio in a while. Recently started seeing videos. This mod crashed Factorio 2 and YouTube recommendations. Not ways to get back in the game to understand how to install the mod. Version 8, first version 18 only. Secondly, mods install it. For me, it's the top one. It's the top choice. Clicking the very, very first one, click it and hit install. And as soon as you hit confirm, it should restart your game and you're done. 18 only. That's probably your issue, Skin Tile. Oh, look. Yep, he's in 1779. It's a 18 only. Tough. Anyone want a recommendation? A server provider? Yes. Just something that will provide a small group of friends, no more than 4, without having one person play online. Yes. I used Creeper Host for years, but I've recently switched over to Nodecraft. You can go to nodecraft.com, enter in the promo code Clowntown, and receive 30% off. Koopa Troopa 10 asks, I'm getting close to launching my first rocket at my first base in almost default Baldur's World. Good job. I wanted to think starting a low-scale mega base, as a lot of people seems to have that same goal. Does it make more sense to just try and work in my existing world? Now realizes a poorly planned and optimized relatively spaghetti base. Yes, that's part of it. Or does it make more sense to start a new world from scratch, maybe with the biters off? I'm a big fan of starting over and wiping it all and doing it again. I probably, every time a new major version revs, I kill all the old saves. I don't have any of my legacy stuff because it's all garbage. I was a crappy builder, and now I'm a good builder. I'm very fast now compared to where I was. And I would try new worlds as well, because your first base is now that way. Your way of thinking is reflected in your first base, and you've changed your way of thinking. So you probably have new, faster, better, more efficient ideas to do your second one. So do not be afraid to ditch it and start over. I've probably in my Factorio life, I have probably launched 200,000 rockets. I've started over a lot. Don't be afraid. The heck do I says how do I deal with playing this game on not peaceful mode? Get good. I should do so because otherwise I'm being a filthy casual. Good self-reflection, but every time I try, my base gets destroyed before I've even researched how to make defenses. Get good. Yes. Feel that pressure. Figure out what you want to do. Speed run. Yes. Ant walls, ammos, turrets. Yeah. Work on it. That pressure is real. The biters are there to make you feel pressure to improve and feel pressure to expand and get tough. And one of the best ways to get tough, kitty shipper cave girl, is to get your ass kicked. And it sounds like you're getting your ass kicked. So number 1, I'm proud of you for doing it. Number 2, I'm proud of you for setting higher standards for yourself. And number 3, I'm also proud of you for asking the question. Good job. Get after it, man. I'll give you a way out. Slutty Chicken here says, while others' answers are good, you are fine playing with peaceful mode if it's what you like. I play with peaceful mode a lot. I shut biters off all the time because I don't want it then. I don't want it. I've got a couple playthroughs with biters still coming in, but it's real. The pressure is real. and it's a high standard. You got to get after it. Yep, this is good. I'm proud of you. Or feel free to jump in, but I'm proud of you for reaching. Good job. Irt damn. Pipe F must grow pipe. That's nice. I ran into some problems while scaling up my base to a bigger medium base, for example, 300 SPM. It's not bad. Let's say I use a 12 beacon build by calculations. I would need 7.15 assemblies 3s to make 300 green science per minute. I'll round up to 8, yes. This would cause a little overproducing. It leads to problems. Every production line would have similar amounts of overproduction, yes. But it's okay. Inventory will be consumed. It makes the production graph much more messy. Like I targeted 300 SPM, but I aim at 336. Yes. Use buffer chests to stop it. You can use circuits to stop it. You can use circuits to wire up to your logistic inventory. Wire up a circuit series connecting your requester chests for material to the logistic network of green science, and put in a condition to say always maintain inventory at X level of green science, and if it dips below, start producing. If it dips above, get up there, but maintain a level. So look at saying I always want 200 green science in the network because my labs need 100 to run at this level, something like that. So I want double if one set is in production, I want 2 on the shelf. It's a kind of a Kanban approach, and so I'm always going to have 2. So wire up your circuit condition to be wired to whatever 2 lots of green science is, and wire that to your incoming your requester chests to pull material. That's one way to do it. But all of this is right. These are great questions. The other answer I'll have for you: don't be afraid of extra inventory. Are you gonna? What are you gonna do with this 300 SPM? Are you gonna go to 500? No problem. Then it's gonna be behind once if you have overproduction. It'll just give you a little bit more time to ramp up to 500 SPM. So I'm never afraid of inventory, especially if it's anything to do with science, because it will be consumed. So don't sweat it, right? Now, an entire unlimited chest full of substations stacked to 50s. Shred guy. So in the build 1817, the ability to make new blueprints and import blueprints from strings just sort of not there, or do you get the robot tech or something? It's on the toolbar now. It moved. Everybody has this. I had to do the same thing. Where's the blueprint? Yeah, I almost got 4,000 hours in here, and I'm looking for the damn blueprint button. Newbie. What's the easiest way to screenshot the whole base? Asks Bad ATX.com. Is it in game somewhere? There's a screenshot console command. It's kind of more of a blueprint string visualizer thing. I think there's a mod that can do it, and I think there's a time-lapse mod that someone's working on. The entire base, map view, zoom layout, I don't know. It'd be pretty big. But there's probably the console command is what you want. Or multiple screenshots and paste it all together. It's one way to do it. Oh, let me go back here. Multiple screenshots, that might be one way to do it. Or Infinizoom can do that, says Weeball. It's a mod. The Silver Cat ATX says, does anyone know how to make a small, compact production science pack factory? Speedrun.com. Production science pack factory. Okay. Adams DJ, is there a compact way to move train track 1 unit to the side? Oh, he means 1 unit of rail width, because rails are in 2. Pick it up, move it. I don't know. Blueprints. But rails snap to on a 2x2 grid. Everything else snaps on a 1x1 grid. You'll find this in that your rails, if they're ever in a blueprint, your blueprint snaps to the grid differently with a rail in it than if you don't have rail in it. So rails then put you on a different grid than a 1x1. So no, you have to make it work with where they snap. All right, thank you very much for being here, and make sure you hit that like, subscribe button, and ring that bell to make sure you get a notification when I post a new video. Any questions? Hit me in the comments or come by 5-6 days a week. Twitch TV /Clowntown. Let's talk about it. We do this review every Friday live, and then they're dropped on Saturday. Also, all the links that I've talked about should be in the description. If I missed one, hit me up. I'll put it there. I think I got them all captured. Thank you very much. All the other links to support me are in the description. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.